Coolfmlive here from the Benson City Council meeting. Public comments in opposition of the massive aluminum processing plant on 200 acres in Benson. Let's listen in.
Hi, I'm Nancy. I've lived in Arizona since 1975. I've lived all over the state of Arizona, from Flagstaff to the White Mountains to Phoenix to Tucson to Benson. And I'll tell you what's special about Benson is that we have clean air, we have clean water, and we leave Tucson from work and we come home and we don't smell the air. We don't smell things. Our water, I have an artesian well. It's now only working half the year since like the pecan orchards and stuff. And I am concerned about the amount of water we're promising. I know that Vignetto's thing was going to have 29,000 homes or something, and that's still on the agenda somewhere. And then we have this big factory or plant coming in that's going to use water. And you know, there's other places like Wilcox that are, you know, their wells are going dry. They don't have the water, and we can't make the water. We don't have an ocean to make a desalination plant or something. And I'll tell you that when you go down to the San Pedro and you see all the birds and you realize that this is an Old West town, an Old West gateway, and it's got Karchner Caverns and Tombstone and Bisbee and all these beautiful places, and then why would they want to stick a polluting plant that's going to not be at all attractive and will stink right in the middle of the town? I mean, and I feel like that the council and everybody is supposed to represent the citizens. Now, I'm not a city of Benson resident, but I'm a county resident, and this air is going to affect all of us. And you might as well cancel the balloon celebrations and the country music things, because nobody wants to come to a stinky town. I feel like what the Arizona Department of Environmental Quality told us is that there's nothing we can do. They've never turned down a permit for anything. They just add more stipulations and more rules and more stipulations. We also know that there's no flood plan for this company that's right on the river, and that the only thing they can do is come in afterwards and fine them and make recommendations and whatever. They're really not, we're not able to use them for anything. I feel like this was a sneaky situation where people thought there was going to be a recycling center. Oh yay, I can bring my cans somewhere finally instead of finding somebody to take them. But no, it was all snuck in. It didn't go to the main council for review. Who knows how many people even knew about it. And then, I mean, even though they had the addresses of everybody that lived in the city of Benson that could have been mailed a flyer about what was going on, and nothing happened. And the only thing was in the San Pedro Valley News, which you have to have a prescription to even see. So, plus there's a lot of elderly people that aren't on the internet or anything. They may not even know about this yet. And we have a very elderly population. I'm a nurse, and I know. I've worked at Keyberry. You have very fragile people there, and it's right across the street from this place. And I'm thinking, what were you guys thinking when you let this come in? That's, I mean, I feel like you guys are acting like this is a done deal and there's nothing we can do about it. ADEQ is acting like this is a done deal and there's nothing we can do about it. We want Benson to be clean and beautiful, not a trashy industrial park.
Our next speaker is Frank Chavez.
That's all right, she said everything.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Dan Sprinkle.
Got it.
actually, I'm gonna wait somewhere else. But I will come up here. It's far too important. Now-
Rick, I want to be flexible with, we have a
Got it.
10-minute time limit, but I do want to be flexible with
Okay.
that. We want to hear what you have to say, so that
I appreciate it, and that is gonna be a hard act to follow. So here's my concern. Reading through the packet for this evening, the memo put out by the police department about ADI hiring our police officers and using our vehicles for security, have some concerns about that. One, why don't they hire their own security? Now, I do understand, and I'm well aware, it is not unusual that deputies and police officers work off the clock in other security endeavors. My concern, though, is the vehicles, because it says in there that ADI will pay the cost of wear and tear. Sounds honorable, but here's the problem. If we're putting more wear and tear, and they recognize they're putting enough wear and tear on the vehicles doing ADI security, how many more times or much more frequency are those vehicles going to be out of commission to be maintained instead of being out here on the street serving the public? And this isn't fair to this Benson residents, and let's leave our vehicles at least. I get cops may want to work off the clock, we can't stop that. But what about our vehicles? Let's let the vehicles do what they're paid, that we bought them to do, and that is to serve the public. The last thing, and I'll make this quick, back to the term limits since we tabled it. I still haven't heard what the benefit of the extending the term limit was. I am very concerned that we're trying to get it on a special ballot for the spring instead of waiting till the fall. So dealing with what we've been dealing with ADI since June, and the opinion of the city government here, it makes me wonder, something's up. If we're trying to rush this out to get it done now instead of wait, I feel like there's, the evil man behind the curtain with tapping his fingers, calculating something. I hope I'm wrong, but that is the perception I have. Thank you, Mayor, appreciate it.
thank you, Mr. Campbell. Crystal Anderson? And just a side note, we're not ignoring you. We aren't allowed to respond to calls of the public, so that's kind of the way it works. It's a one-way street here, so thank you.
Hi, thank you, Crystal again. For the obvious reasons, everyone disapproves of the ADI, but I have a concern about, again, how it was passed through the P&Z and 4 people decided on it. I'm concerned that it didn't go to the City Council or the Board of Adjustments because when the Maverick sign came in, it jumped through all kinds of hoops. Why didn't this? And you said that you've been talking to Neil for a year and a half. ADI was in November. They haven't met all their conditional permit requirements. So why are they using a conditional permit that they haven't provided all the information for? I think that, I pressed the button, sorry. I think that's really important. I had an RV shade and got a stop notice, and it took me a month to get it approved, and I couldn't do anything with it. So why is ADI operating when they don't have all their stuff in line, their ducks in a row? And personally, I feel like that gives you the reason or enough sense to pull it back and say, we're going to pull this conditional permit. You haven't done what you said. Sorry, move on. Gila Ben, yeah. Gila Ben voted him out twice. I'm sure Dan Arnold can say he was there and saw both of them voted twice. I'm quite curious why you're here, Dan. Why aren't you in Gila Ben still? I think Dan Sprinkles is right, that there's an evil man behind the curtain. And I think that the city just really wants a chance to get their voice heard and to get their vote on the table. Not 4 people. Those 4 people don't care, obviously, about all of our health. I think that you should let the people vote for their health.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. You are good. Our next speaker is Misty Bloom.
guys. It's actually really nice to get to see you face to face, Mayor. I came and spoke last City Council meeting, and I didn't get to introduce myself. So I'm sure that you guys know about the Facebook group, and there's a lot of chatter about how, you know, I'm really well aware of the chatter of what that Facebook group represents, that we're a bunch of crazies and troublemakers and all the things. I hear it all. I've actually been, you know, fearful sometimes for my safety, having my name at the top of that admin list. But the benefit it gives me is I have a bird's eye view, and I'm able to take the pulse sort of the 1,100 people that are in that group. I get to hear what they're saying. I'm always looking at their comments. I do not condone ugly behavior at all or illegal behavior. I should just let you know that. But yeah, let me introduce you to who I am. I'm a homeschool mom. I've been a homeschool mom for 23 years. We live on a farm. We raise cattle, other livestock, and I'm passionate about my children's opportunity to continue to breathe clean air and drink clean water, and for us to have clean organic food from our home, from our ranch. And so that is what I'm passionate about. And, you know, people get really interesting when they feel that being taken from them. And so I think that what I'm seeing from a bird's eye perspective is that we want to feel connected to you. We want to feel represented by you. And we trust you when we hire you for you to protect our safety, you know, my children's safety. So I'm going to tell you something that was a little bit, I also wanted to say we're also a blue collar family. We're not anti-industry. Blue collar work, I can't even tell you like where that blue collar work is, because I feel like my, you know, business will be threatened if I do. But we're totally in support of engineered concepts and light industrial. So I just wanted to also throw that out there. But I wanted to bring up tonight the legal notice, the City of Benson Planning and Zoning Commission public hearing, the notice from November 6th, 2024. And I wanted to encourage you guys to be like way more prudent with the notices that you're putting out. And the reason why is you guys should be neutral. It shouldn't sound like a help wanted ad, okay? I have, like I said, I can't tell you like my business experience because I'm afraid for our safety and our well-being. But let me read this to you, and then I'll read something that I feel more represents the pulse of the city, of what I'm seeing. Aluminum Dynamics will hold a citizen review session as a requirement of their conditional use permit to allow for an exception to the City of Benson's building height code. Their building will need to be over the 30 feet height restriction to properly house their equipment and machinery. Steel Dynamics Inc. announced its entry into the flat-rolled aluminum market with a revolutionary 650-ton per year facility in the Starkville, West Point, and Columbus, Mississippi Golden Triangle area. Aluminum Dynamics, LLC, is SDI's first aluminum facility that is planned to start up in 2025. This project presents a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to be on the ground floor of this new business for SDI. Positions will start simultaneously with the start of construction of the state-of-the-art facility, providing the unique opportunity to help design and implement the systems and processes required by the mill. Vital to SDI's success are its employees. We have a dynamic and dedicated workforce of talented people who have a strong sense of ownership in the success of the company. As a diversified, vertically integrated metals company, we are proud of the people who work. Does this sound like it's from the city at all? Because to me it doesn't. It literally is a legal notice from the city. Vertically integrated metals company, and we are proud of the people who work with us and the products we produce. We believe having the right people in the right place will always remain our greatest asset. Our employees create value for our customers and ultimately drive our success. Individuals in each of our facilities share several common traits. The culture at Steel Dynamics is one that values the bonds and relationships of its employees, from the mill floor to the administrative offices. Our family-oriented atmosphere is an essential part of the company's success. This meeting will be held November 6th at 5 p.m. at the Benson City Council Chambers at 599 South Dragoon. This sounds like a help wanted ad. This is not neutral. We needed notice. as the No Benson aluminum plant admin at the top of the list, I have had so many people, I want to say like hundreds of people, but I'm probably exaggerating. So many people say, I did not know. This is a job, this is a help wanted ad. Let me read you what I wrote up that feels like it's more accurate to the vibe we are getting from you guys, because I think as good listeners, you would want to know how we're feeling, like what we're hearing from you guys. We would like you, this is in the perspective of you to us. We would like you, the residents of Benson, to be informed about a 218-acre aluminum casting facility being built across the street from a nursing home in a densely populated neighborhood, 1 mile from schools and parks, and right along our San Pedro River. This facility will be using ridiculous quantities of water and will forever change the landscape of our town. We, as a city, expect to direct Benson Police Department to guard this facility and further exhaust our emergency resources, but don't worry. We already let 37.5 of emergency calls go unanswered, so you should be fine. This facility has potential to emit 52 to 100 tons PM 2.5, that's very fine particulate matter, annually. A fine particulate matter into the air, hydrogen chloride, hydrogen fluoride, dioxins that cause reproductive harm and cancer even in small amounts. As our public records show that we knew about this from meetings we have had as city employees, we will still be getting on the news and interviewing and dismissing resident concerns and trying to brush away people's desire for safety by insinuating they don't understand. We don't take our responsibility seriously, and think we know what's best for this town, and the citizens don't. So if you want to stand up for your children's right to breathe clean air and drink clean water, come to the citizen review session. Steel Dynamics' history of violations is of no concern to us. We fully expect this company to do right by the city and its residents. They'll be required to occasionally, not continuously, test levels of particulates and see no harm in giving them the reins. If you are worried about your property values going down, tough. Aluminum Dynamics has more money than you and therefore is a more important occupier of this great town.
Thank you, Ms. Green. Next speaker will be Kristen Bittigan.
Mayor Conrad, you weren't here last council meeting, so I need to fill you in. At that council meeting, I had provided the council with a list of 10 questions regarding aluminum dynamics coming to our town, and I appreciate Mr. Volker providing me with a response the following day. However, a few of my questions were not answered, and a couple others were not answered accurately. How do I know this? Arizona Public Records Law. So let's circle back to a few of these. I had asked who proposed or introduced it and who are the primary supporters of it. I was told the idea for ADI was ADI. When really, last July, on July 30th, there was a city department head meeting, and written down on a note under Brad, I'm assuming that's our city engineer, he says, quote, aluminum dynamics might know today. A few topics before that, he mentioned a paving contract that will go to council. It's still so odd to me that a $190 million facility requiring a Title V permit never went to council. September 10th of last year, Aluminum Dynamics hosted a presentation for many of you in this room right now. You have known since last September. A primary supporter? Well, let's consider the gentleman who was the only one to speak in support of this at the last council meeting, Mr. Arnold. He's here again tonight. He was also in Gila Bend voicing support of AD there. In Gila Bend, he was a subdivision developer. Here in Benson, he's a landowner, directly south of the plant site. And he felt compelled to speak on water use at that last council meeting. How ironic is that? A golf course, water. Another question that was asked, what incentives have been offered or provided to the city of Benson? This question was not answered, but a few obvious ones that come to mind are AD's sponsorship of multiple city-hosted events already. Lunchtime Connect, 4th of July, the upcoming Lantern Festival, who knows what else? Nope, a country music festival too. Another question, what permissions have been granted by the city council, as in you, Mayor Conrad, and your council? This was not answered when I asked this. We know the answer, it was no, it never went to the council. I don't understand how you guys did not read on what transpired in Gila Bend, who has less than half of the population of Benson, and they had extensive discussion about this business coming to their town, and they felt it wasn't appropriate. What went wrong here? Another question was, to date, how much has the city of Benson invested in supporting this initiative and project? I was told in Mr. Volker's responses that there's been no funding spent or invested to assist ADI, only staff hours. So why were there AD-related expenses within your last council packet? Even if those were reimbursed, where is the transparency from our government here? Under the general fund, there was a civil and environmental consultants invoice for over $6,000. There's ADEQ mailer costs. And now we have what Dan had mentioned earlier, the Benson PD is going to be shifted over to their site. The last question I have here that seems to be one of the largest other than concerns over air pollution. Number 5, what amount of water will be used daily? I was told that ADI requested a meter for the plant that would provide up to 388 gallons per minute. On June 30th, I had requested from the city clerk the water conservation plan that was required after the November 6th conditional use permit meeting. I've been told endless times that it's still in the draft phase. I'm having a hard time understanding how this is still in the draft phase when Aluminum Dynamics filled out their CUP application, it says right on the application to allow for 100 days for this paperwork to be processed, to go through the citizen review hearing, the public hearing, be voted on. Somehow, that went from a 100-day expected time frame to everything transpiring in 16 days. 16. But for some reason, the water conservation plan is still a draft. I'm not sure what's going on in the city with water use, but given the news of the new lawsuit for how the city is managing the water, I strongly encourage you guys to pause and take a look at the effects of bringing in industrial business to this town. I myself am a nurse like Nancy, and in a hospital setting before surgery, they go over the plan, the options, any repercussions. If anything is off, they do a pause. You guys should have done a pause.
Yes. Thank you, Ms. Bateman. The next speaker, Mr. Kenny Jans.
Good afternoon. Tucson, they had a big, I guess, computer plant. Gila Bend had the same thing we're fighting on right now. And the difference between Benson and them two, the city actually was behind the people.
Yeah.
What I've learned through this journey is that through the ADQ process, that pretty much Aluminum Dynamics controls their own narrative. What do I mean by that? They provide the numbers. Okay. How do you know whether those are true or false numbers? I can tell you anything. They also are self-monitoring. So where's the honesty there? Where is the objective view of what's going on in this town? There is none. I just think it's a shame that you guys don't do like the other two do and basically tell them to pack sand. Right now, there is a petition floating around there. There's roughly 5,000 people. Guess what? Pretty much half of this town that is aware of it have signed that petition. Start going in the direction of the town and quit worrying about what you think is best for us. And, I mean, that's all I'm gonna say. I mean, this is a bad deal. It needs to go. You guys need to put your foot down. I'm scared to death what's gonna come out of there. I mean, I really am. I mean, I worked at Apache for 4 years, and you know, I know the dangers of explosives and stuff like that, so I know what I'm talking about. Okay, I know aluminum dust is highly explosive. And as a matter of fact, there's one that made a headline today, a steel mill in Pennsylvania. The whole town's dealing with it right now. Don't make that us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jan. Our final speaker, Mr. Michael Borland.
Thank you. Yeah, it's difficult to follow up on all these nice speakers with their nice points, but I will try. So my name is Michael Borland. My wife and I have owned a home here in Benson for over 3 years, and we moved from one of those places with stinky air, pollution of all sorts, sort of place that we did not want to live in anymore, and we moved here to Benson because we have clean, fresh air, we have dark skies for now, and it's just a really nice place to live compared to places that have overdeveloped. And I hope we don't make the mistake of becoming like that place. So regarding the aluminum processing plant, I share the concerns about air pollution, water use, noise, and traffic. I'd like to raise another issue, namely light pollution, which is a particular interest to me as an amateur astronomer. This is a growing issue throughout Benson, particularly with respect to new businesses. For example, those that have opened near the junction of I-10 and Arizona 90 are very light polluting, and they don't need to be. Most people don't think about light pollution much, but it has wide-ranging negative effects on our health. It has negative effects on wild animals, on security, on safety, and on our enjoyment of natural beauty, like the dark sky. So last night, in preparation for this meeting, my wife and I went out to take some measurements of light spillage from businesses around Benson. So the meter that I use measures light intensity in units that are called lux, L-U-X. And a well-lighted room like this one is about 75 to 150 lux, while the full moon, although it seems very bright and casts a strong shadow, is only about 0.3 lux. So from the highway next to the Love Station, I measured 10 to 20 lux. That's enough to read by. I wouldn't say you'd read a novel by it, but you could easily read this page that I'm looking at now from the road next to the Love Station. Meanwhile, from 4th Street passing a Walmart, I measured only 2 lux. So here we have a great contrast. Walmart spills 10% as much light into the environment as the Love Station, and yet they're both thriving, secure, safe businesses. Why is that difference allowed? Why is Love Station allowed to pollute so much? Now you might wonder, well, why does it matter if Love lights up the roadway? Well, first of all, the light doesn't stop there. The Love Station and the surrounding businesses are brightly visible at night all the way to the Dragoon Mountains and beyond. So the glare and the light dome from Benson can also be seen from the Dragoon Mountains. Second, this kind of light spillage actually creates a hazard. It creates intense glare, which distracts people from things on the roadway. So it creates a safety hazard by making it hard to see cars, people, and animals along the side of the road, and can contribute to accidents. Now, I'm sure one of you is thinking, well, all businesses in Benson city limits conform to the Benson city lighting ordinances, and perhaps they do, and that is the problem. The Benson city lighting ordinances are very weak. If you compare them, for example, to the Cochise County Code, they're drastically weaker in terms of protecting the dark sky. The good news in all of this is that reducing light pollution is an easy win. It's not expensive and does not hamper economic development, security, or safety. All that is needed is for you, our elected representatives, to take environmental quality seriously, and this is an important aspect of environmental quality. So my request is that you start by revising the Benson Lighting Code to explicitly include protection of the night sky as a goal. Simply adopting the Cochise County Code would be a significant and easy first step. Next, work with Aluminum Dynamics to ensure that its plant, if built, and I hope it's not, but if built, does not contribute to this and other environmental problems. I'm a member of the Huachuca Astronomy Club. It's a Cochise County-wide club of amateur astronomers. We would be very happy to work with the mayor and the city council and others to address the problems with light pollution coming out of Benson. This would improve not only the quality of life for Benson and other Cochise County residents, but it would also ensure that the economic and cultural value of Cartron Caverns, which is a dark sky site, would be preserved for future generations. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Borland. That does conclude the call to the public. I appreciate everybody's civility and patience with us. At this time, I'm going to move that we move to executive session with the city manager, mayor and council, the city engineer, city attorney,